Hello, 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 internets. How's it going today? Just wanted to do a little video about something that's pretty near and dear to my heart, and that is these puppies right here. These are laurin metalli blanks. Uh, these specifically are the 80 CRV2 carbon steel models. They do come in two different types of steel. There's the carbon steel, and then an X50 or 55 CR something word soup one, which is their stainless. Uh, these blades are absolutely amazing. I haven't found much information on YouTube about the blanks in general. Like, there's a lot of makers that use these blades, and there are quite a few walkthroughs on YouTube uh, sort of showing you how to turn these blades into knives, but I just wanted to kind of give a quick overview of the blades I use on a regular basis and why they are such a good value and such a good way to get into knife making, handle making, minor woodwork like that, as well as the finishing and sanding of them. I get a lot of questions at shows about specifically, do I make my own blades? And as of right now, I can't. One For one reason, my wife won't let me have a forge, although I am currently putting together a forge. Don't tell her, uh, because she's worried like I'll like burn down the house or something, and that's a totally fair uh, accusation because I am a little uh, I just jump right into things, so I'd probably light a few fires here and there uh, in the process of learning how to use a forge. But as of right now, I really wanted to get into the handle making and the kind of artisanal aspect uh, of making knives. And in my opinion, like, the blade makes a knife cut, but the handle can make a knife a piece of art if done properly. So I'll just sort of go over the blades I use on a regular basis and which ones I prefer, and sort of the pros and cons of the different blades. So this is probably one of my favorite models I use. This is the 80 millimeter carving blades. The carving ones specifically have like a downward, like a full drop point right from the handle. It'll have a full drop. Most of the other ones, like their Pucos and their Lukus, will just have a completely straight back. I really do like the way these ones carve. They have a nice, I think they're 2.5 to 3 mil thick. They do sell some beefier ones. I got one to show you a little later. But for the thickness, they carve very well, and this is a great size. You get a nice amount of leverage for get into the harder carving, and then you still have a nice fine tip, nice strong fine tip that can do the finer work. And as you can see, like, all of these right here are, let's focus you, fuck. There you go. All of these right here are the same blank. They're all the 80 millimeter carbon steel. Some have bolsters, some don't. Like, I ordered some with the bolsters at the bottom. Depending on what kind of style of knife you want to make. Like, this one, I left a little gap down there, so you can sharpen right up to that. I probably should file a little slightly larger gap in that. The same with this one too. I left a bigger gap there, so you can sharpen right up to the bottom of the blade, almost like a choil. But that is the side effect of having this part go down here as opposed to uh, having this little blocky part here, because depending on what you want, like, if you want to be able to cut right down to the bottom. You don't want something like that is on this one, because if you're like cutting something open, stuff can get all caught up in there and it won't cut very nicely. So yeah, these ones are much easier to fit with like uh, brass bolsters or like things like that. And if you're going to use these ones, and if you want like to leave a space underneath, you really have to get have some foresight and do some creative like angling when you're stacking your wood on your handle. This is probably one of the first ones I did. Actually, this is the first one I did with a laurin blade. Period. It's a bloodwood and then spiraled stacked birch bark with ebony in the middle, and then bloodwood on the bottom, peen through. My camera's not focusing very well. That was one of my first peening jobs. I'm better. I can make it look prettier now. But yeah, those are the 80 millimeter blades. I'm just going to put these back so they don't get all beat up on each other. One of my favorite. You can make so many different kinds of knives. A lot of these have slightly similar shapes, like these three, more traditional puko style handles, and then these ones have a little more ergos to them, finger guards and such. But yeah, let me just grab a couple more here. So overall fit and finish on these blades is very, very nice. They come, I'd say 95% there. Most of them right out of the sleeve are shaving sharp, very well finished. I don't exactly know, like I tried to look online to find some sort of video on the Laurin factory to see just how these blades are made, but it seems like they probably punch them, given that the way they have like a softer side on one side, and then they always usually have a sharper burr on the other side. So I can imagine these are punched by a big machine, or maybe water jetted out. I don't know. And then the primary, or yeah, the primary grind is always very like, it almost seems like they got like some sort of spinning like carbide bit that comes along, because I don't know any grit that leaves. Like that's not done on a wheel. That's not done on a sanding belt. That is straight up like machine lines there, and it's always more noticeable at the tips of the blades. So I'm guessing these are like machined out, similar to Moras. I find some Moras have that look to the primary grind, and then they all come with a secondary micro bevel. Some of these micro bevels are not very micro, but that is okay, because I'm guessing these are 90% done by machine, and then the last little fine micro bevels probably put on by somebody, because they are very they have lots of variation between the blanks. Sometimes you'll get ones that look completely like off a machine, and then sometimes you'll get ones like this one here. Like this was, you could not, like maybe you could sort of see, but this was definitely finished a lot better. Sorry, there's oil on a lot of these. I find the bigger ones definitely have more of a machined look to them. This is the 175. I really like how they design these tangs. In my opinion, a properly done stick tang is just as strong as a full tang, especially when when you start getting full tangs where they drill out for weight savings. To me, that is like, it's really nulls a lot of the advantages of that full solid piece of steel, where you're putting a bunch of holes in to compromise the steel. And some of those knife makers, when they're drilling out weight savings holes, they just go absolutely crazy. It looks like a like Swiss cheese everywhere with bigger and smaller ones, and just like taking out as much steel as possible. If you're gonna go that route, it's not even a full tang at that point. You might as well just do a stick tang. Uh, they're great for cold weather climates. You don't have to worry about the metal touching your hand. And these, depending on what ones you get, well, some will have like little almost filed out marks, I guess, for maybe retention when you're gluing them or setting them into the handles, and some of them don't. They're all pretty similar tang lengths, even like from blade to like the biggest blade to the smallest blade. They're all like I'm guessing probably 100 millimeter tang, because this is a 175 millimeter. No, so yeah, probably 150 millimeter tang. Some are wider, like this one, of course, is wider. But yeah, that's the one thing that, like, especially the big ones, I wish they had a bigger stick tang, and I'll show you why when I grab one of the big boys out. But I really love this gradual curve to the stick tang. It's such a small detail, but that adds so much structural strength to the steel there, as opposed to, let's see, I have a BPS blank right here, and that hard, even though like it's the same width right there, and I think they actually made this bigger than the first time I got this. The first time I got this, I think it was just this width all the way up to the top, but that hard line right there, that transition, that is a flaw that will break a lot easier than a soft curved transition like on this one. It's the reason why those is it the K bar? I think it's the K bars. The U.S. military knives, they break so easily at the hilt, because where it joins there, because they have a very sharp transition and it just doesn't give much structural strength there. Super annoying design flaw that's never been remedied, and they know about it and they do it. They leave it like that just for ease of manufacturing, because it is a lot easier to fit a bolster, like for example this one, onto a 90-degree transition. Because when I fit a bolster on, let me just put that down, on something like, let's see, do I have a metal bolster like this one? This is a really thin one, so it's hard to tell, but I actually have to file, like I cut the holes in there, and I'll have to file an angle, like a curved almost acceptance point to that, so I can have it fit nice and flush, or just make it bigger. Like you can go bigger than the thing and it'll fit a little better, but I like to have it fit as tightly, as snugly as possible right off the get-go. So yeah, their tangs are great. I'm pretty sure they are annealed right at the base there, because they all look different. But peening this stuff is no fun. This 80 CRV2 is pretty impact resistant, so it doesn't take deformation really easily. So when you peen this, don't leave a huge chunk to peen. Like for example, this is I still have to peen this one. This is the stainless variation. I decided to try it. It's my first stainless. I'm going to see how hard it is to peen this amount. But if this was the 80 CRV2, if I had to peen that down all the way, it would take like two hours of just tink 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 slowly. It's some really tough stuff. So I often will grind down probably till there's, I don't know, a centimeter, maybe a half a centimeter of metal, and then I'll peen it, because you don't need, as long as you fit your end cap properly, you don't need a big peen. You don't need it to mushroom out like crazy. You just need enough, maybe, to expand the hole just a little bit over the edge. So yeah, when you're peening down these handles, or these tangs, just don't leave a lot to peen, because you're gonna make your job a lot harder. I don't usually go crazy peening. I usually just fit the holes very tightly and then expand it out a little bit. And then if a handle ever breaks too, like, it's super easy to take these off, saw them off, and then add another handle. So stick tangs are great. Let's keep going. I got a few more to show you. It's gonna be a shorter video, but I just kind of wanted to go over the blades I use and give a little more information on the internet about these laurin metalli blades. This is a 125 millimeter. They call it the carving blade. It's kind of a big carving blade. I love this this blank too. This is the same, but this one has a bolster. But stainless carbon, nice long tang, lots of room. Like, you can make a handle nice and big and still have room to peen. Where they get a little small, what do I have? Thought I'd brought a carving blade with me. Bear with me. Sorry. I guess I didn't bring. I had a little carving blade. Well, I have one that's made. I have a couple more of these kicking around. I must have left it in my shop, but this is a 54 millimeter carving blade. Exact same design as its bigger 80 millimeter brother, but a lot smaller, thinner stock, much better for fine detail carving, and the tang is way shorter. So you're looking at the tang probably ends right about here. So if you want to build any sort of like human-sized handle for the little carving blades, I think the 54, the 62, and they do make a 42, which is short, like super short. You're not going to be peening through this stuff unless you like thread the tang and then have like a long bolt that goes through and like accepts it and makes up for the rest of the handle. But honestly, these are tiny carving blades, so you don't need the strength of a peen through. You size the hole properly and you glue it properly, and that'll be more than enough strength for a carving knife purpose. Let me just go through a couple more. This is a 210 millimeter Luku. Now, once you're getting to this size, they are getting pretty expensive. This one, I do believe, is about 45 or 50 Canadian dollars for this blank, which is, I mean, it's not bad. If I wanted to buy a knife this size, it's going to cost me a decent chunk of change. But they're definitely a little less value when you get onto the larger end. And I'll bring out the big boy just to sort of show you the one detriment of these laurin metalli big choppers. So this is a 240, yeah, 240 millimeter, the heavy duty chopper. So it's thicker than the 210, and then you get the extra 30 millimeters, but it has the same tang length as all the other ones. So this is the 170s. You're gonna sort of see why I think they should make the tang on these larger ones. Sorry, there's like leather dust all over this blade from the unfinished side of the leather. I just finished the sheath for it, so that's looks a little nasty, but I oil my blades like crazy and then the leather gets on them. But yeah, so this is a 240 millimeter, and then this is the largest handle I could make for this one if I wanted a peen through tang, which, I mean, it fits my hand good. It's not It's not too small or anything, but I do like, especially for the big choppers, to have the ability to choke back here and get a little more speed at the end. And you can't really do that unless you're going to do, again, a threaded tang, you thread the tang, and then you get a longer bolt that it can accept that threaded tang, and then you could probably, you're unlimited to the length depending on whatever bolts you get. You can get like, what I'm saying, there's like nuts you can get that have like a hole inside of them that's threaded that you can screw on. I looked at my hardware store and I found them, but I have yet to build a knife like that. So for what I do when I'm, sorry, let me just put this away. When I want to build a slightly bigger handle on these blades, I do a glue in and a compression fit. So this is the 170 mil, or no, this is, I think this is a 210. Yeah, 210 mil Luku chopper. I call this the Chewbacca chopper because it's got some really nice rosewood that kind of reminds me of Chewbacca's fur. But yeah, so I drilled the hole out, and I drilled an actual hole for this down, fit it through, and then I undersized the hole, so I probably made the hole about the width of the knife right here, and then I filed out the top and the bottom of the hole. Sorry, it's hard for me to get a camera angle to show you exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, the top and the bottom of the hole I filed so it indexes the blade, it keeps it forward, locks it in, and then I made two dowels out of, or a dowel out of the wood, and then I split the dowel in half and then tapered it, filled the hole with glue as much as I could, some 2-part epoxy, put the knife in, and then I took these tapered semicircle dowels or half dowels, and then probably pounded them in right here. So as you're like pounding them in, they're squeezing the blade this way. They're rubbing, pushing against the blade, so friction this way, and also like wedging itself into the hole outwards. So like it's a friction and a glue fit, and that thing ain't going anywhere. It's the only way I was comfortable to build like a heavier duty chopper like this without a full peen through method, or a full, like, a way to see however the tang is attached on the other end. And this I built in kind of an axe handle style, so you can really choke back and get lots of choppy leverage. I've done a couple like this, and I've beaten the ever-living crap out of my other one, which is a 170 mil. It's downstairs. I'm not selling that one. I'm keeping that one. But yeah, this is, in my opinion, just as strong as a peen down tang, especially if you're only peening onto like wood, for example. Love that blade. So yeah, I do have a couple more that I'll show you. Little history. Laurin Metalli is they're a Finnish company, and they make blades for everybody. I think there's just so many I can't even list off. The Tarava Rustlika, they make their Scramas and their Pukos, and there's another company on that website that makes them as well. On the Knives of the North website where I get these, let me just show you that. Little plug for Knives of the North. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Yeah, on Knives of the North, they have other companies that sell these blades finished in by other companies. There are so many companies that use these blades from Laurin Metalli to make their own knives, which makes me feel a bit better because when I go to shows, every once in a while, sometimes people ask me if I make the blades, and when I tell them I buy the blanks from Finland or from Ukraine or something, they seem like a little disappointed that I'm not making my own blanks. But as far as I'm concerned, for the price I can get these at, like these 80 mils I can get for what, I think like $14. I'd be very hard pressed to build a blade this nice with a proper heat treatment for anything close to that. So I am limited in the designs because I have to pick what Lauren throws out, but like I could easily do some modifications to these to make them look a little different if I wanted to try and think outside the blade design box. But I would rather sacrifice a little creative freedom and ensure that my customers are getting well heat treated blades that are not gonna bankrupt them when they're buying a custom knife from me. Like I could buy these and I could probably build something like this and sell it for by itself without the sheath for probably like $100, which still sounds like a lot compared to like a Moore or something. But these are one of a kind, exotic woods, uh, and built properly. If you have any issues with the knives breaking or the laminates coming apart, just bring it back to me and I'll solve your problems. But yeah, once I do get to a point where I have my forge set up and I have enough practice where I can reliably make my own blades, I will be doing that. But as of right now, I just wanted to get into it, and this was the easiest way to get into it. And I highly suggest if you're into knife building or if you're into knives in general, to try buy a couple blanks. It's not too hard to drill some holes in wood and set the glue. And worst comes to worst, you have to cut the handle off and start again. Tape your blades up nicely so you don't beat them up. But yeah, it's a great way to get into it. This is a farrier blade I picked up. This is actually for a specific customer, or not a customer. He was a friend who wanted a nice farrier blade. I ordered it for him, and when I got in, I started messaging him, asking if he wanted what kind of wood he wanted, and he never got back to me. So now I'm stuck with this. I'm sure I'll be able to make it into a cool knife. It's a very cool design, pretty darn sharp. Flat on the back, like chisel ground, and then a nice hook. Probably be nice for like wood gouge or something. Could probably make spoons with it. Take you a little while, but much easier than digging the tip of your knife in. And yeah, like there are other companies you can order. Like I got some Mora blanks here. Like this is the number one. And these are really built really well too. They have nice transition points and decent tangs for allowing nice size handles, but they are a little more expensive. I think this one was 26 Canadian dollars, and if I wanted to get a comparable laurin blank, let's see if I got, like this is probably comparable to a number one here. This would be about 16 Canadian dollars. So you're looking at about $10 less and a much better steel. So I prefer the 80 CRV2 to Mora's carbon steel. I think they use like a 1090 or something. It's a decent steel, and I also like the finish of these blades better. I really do like that black I guess it's scaling left on, but it's very it's very different. Sometimes I'll get ones that actually look like scaling, like this one. It actually looks like proper heat treat scaling. But then like this little carving one, the scaling is just so perfect. It looks like it's actually painted on. Like it looks like it's paint, which I mean maybe they like they don't all end up with the perfect amount of scaling, and they want consistency on their knives, so they just paint them. It doesn't seem like something they would do, but the I've definitely had uh, way different scaling finishes to these knives. But I like the way they look, and especially allows me to do a logo. It makes my logo pop a little more because that one looks ugly. I scratch my logo in with a scribing pen. So yeah, it makes it pop a little more than on like I took the scaling off that one. And it doesn't show up quite as well. Anyways, I'm kind of rambling a little bit. I just wanted to give a little love letter to these laurin knives, these knife blanks that have got me into knife making. If you have any questions, or if you have any of your own builds that you have done that you want to show me, just message me in the comments, and I'll check out your channel, post a video, or post a link. I love seeing other people's knife designs. Uh, Anyways, thanks for listening. And if you're around Sudbury on November 15th, come and check out my show. I'll be doing some sales there. Also doing some sharpening. If you bring me your knife, I can sharpen it for you. I do the first ones for free just to show you what a nice sharp knife looks like. And my Instagram is pepandmade. Thank you very much. I limit myself to 30 minutes today. Have yourself a great day. Talk soon, my friends.